Right now at 5, how a change in funding is impacting the Carthage Humane Society.
And after a night of snowfall, it continues across the area, leading to covered roadways. We'll have a look at road conditions and that forecast to get you out the door coming up.
Plus, the city of Joplin seeks opinions ahead of discussions about public transportation.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5 a.m. I'm Elise Snowy.
And I'm Chris Warner. It is now Friday. It's January the 10th. And of course, we got that snow. And after,
we certainly did.
I'm telling you, it just happened this way almost on purpose, it felt. But not long after we ended the news at noon, those winter storm warnings were expanded further north, and for good reason, because if you haven't looked outside yet, or you haven't gone outside just see what it's like, they definitely needed to be lifted a little further north. Got a lot of snow out there, and it is continuing to come down, and a lot of schools and organizations closed. And as they come in, you can find them on our website and in our app. All right, let's look outside, though. We're going to start in downtown Joplin. It's our camera on the Cornell complex. When it snows, we like to kind of point it down toward the road. It gives you a better idea as to the road conditions there. And we can also look into this street light here and tell you it's still snowing, because snow is so finite, it doesn't easily show up on the radar, and so it's a lot easier to tell if it's still snowing simply by looking outside, really. Roads are not looking too great. They're not terrible, but they are not great at all. And again, a number of schools and such likely closed this morning, and you can see you've got to give yourself some time to stop out there, and you've got to be cautious. So just on my way in, passed through a couple of roundabouts. Nothing significant, but did do a little sliding, and I've heard some stories from our folks here doing a little sliding, a little spinning, so do slow down. These are MoDOT cameras along I-44 in different locations. I'm going to start on this side. This is at mile marker 4, so this is exit 4, but this camera is actually looking south along 43, so I-44 is down here. This is looking south along 43, and it looks okay, but you still need to be careful. This is I-44 at exit 8. So this is the range line exit looking back to the east, and you can see the road, but you can also see there's still plenty of snow on it. And it's same I-44 camera at Missouri 249. So this is down by about exit 11, and you can still see there's still plenty of snow. There are some paths out there, but still plenty of snow on the road. Same from the KDOT camera, 69 and East 520th Avenue. You can't really make out the road too well, other than it's somewhere in this zone. And that's the thing, is there's not one road that's better than another at this point. There's a lot of snow out there. A lot of these roads not in fantastic condition. We do have winter weather advisories and winter storm warnings out there. These again have varying expiration times, but they'll gradually come to an end from west to east through the afternoon and into the evening as the snow comes to an end from west to east. So here's a look at road conditions. This time it's our area that we are dealing with some of these issues, and you can see roads across the region are listed as covered in southeast Kansas. There's a few of these showing up as clear, but I did double check on the KDOT site. These are actually covered. So every last major roadway we have in southeast Kansas is listed as covered. Missouri, it's a good chunk of the state as well, still listed as covered. And of course, that's going to include just about every roadway we have in our area, with the exception of this stretch of I-49 between Nevada and Butler. But it has shown up as clear in the past, and I'm just wondering if maybe there's not good reporting data for that stretch. But either way, it doesn't matter. Slow down. If you don't have to go out today, don't. We need to give the road crews time to get done and do what they need to do out there so that they can get these roads cleared as we head into the weekend for whatever you may have planned. Skywatch Storm Tracker, here's the snow. We've got gaps, but as you saw, it's still snowing in Joplin lightly, but it's not going to show up on the radar because it's snow just isn't dense enough typically to show up unless it's really fallen. And we've got a fair amount of that continuing across the area. These bands continuing from west to east, so we still have some snow out here that we're going to have to get through. And by about late morning or about noon, the bulk of any accumulating snow is done. And as we head into the afternoon, we've got mostly cloudy skies, a few lingering snow showers here and there, maybe a few flurries. But again, the accumulating snow is going to be done, and will be mostly cloudy as we head through the majority of this day, with gusty winds out there as well. Quick look at temperatures: 28 Joplin, 28 in Pittsburg. Pittsburg right now. And around the region, the good news is the winds are pretty light, so we don't have any wind chills, or at least significant ones. But temperatures this morning below freezing. We're all into the upper 20s as we start this day. We're looking at low to mid 30s. Again, some of the heavier snow still continuing through maybe 8, 9 o'clock as it ends. A few flurries will be possible. We could still get a couple of flurries this evening, but the bulk of the accumulating snow is gone by mid-morning. We're looking at highs again, low to mid 30s. North winds occasionally gusting upwards of about 20. That was a lot. We got a lot to continue to talk about. We'll take another look at road conditions. We're going to keep you updated on all of that through the morning and talk about some warmer temperatures on the way here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, thanks, Chris. A house fire claims the life of a Pittsburg resident. Fire crews responded to the fire on West 21st Street shortly after 6 yesterday morning. Now, they got there and confirmed with police that 2 people were involved. EMS took 1 person to Mercy Hospital and the other resident died at the scene. Officials are not releasing the name until they contact next of kin. They're investigating what caused the fire. And to be the first to see breaking news, weather, and sports, you can download the KOAM News app. It's available free of charge in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. Just search for the KOAM News app. And you can also get the latest road conditions and power outages across the area anytime through this QR code. It'll direct you to links on our website. Of course, that's KOAMnewsnow.com for that information for each of the 4 states in our viewing area. The city of Joplin held a meeting to answer questions from residents about the relaunch of the Sunshine Lamp Trolley. Now, the service was originally halted in 2022 due to lack of bus drivers. Now, the city has now hired new drivers, and the new buses are smaller and will seat 12 to 14 people. Now, the buses will make the same stops as before and will run from 6 a.m. until 6 p.m.
We have a huge population of people that do not have access to transportation, and transportation changes lives. If you can't get to work or to your employment, well, then your life's not very full.
They expect the trolley to be up and running by the first week of February. And the Carthage Humane Society informed the city of Carthage this week that it's terminating its contract with the city. This cuts off city funding to the shelter and means the city can't surrender animals to the Humane Society without paying a $200 fee per animal. This comes after months-long discussions regarding funding concerns and the number of animals being turned into the shelter. According to the Humane Society, in 2024, the city of Carthage paid the society roughly $49,000, while their operating cost exceeded $570,000.
We have to take care of the animals and we have to try to find them loving homes. That's it. That's why we're here. That's what we want to do. It's not to make a profit. It's not to, punish the city. It's none of those things. That's not what we want. We just want to be able to take care of the animals.
The mayor of Carthage says the termination was unexpected in that there has been recent discussions about increasing funding. And that's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes coming up on the KOAM Morning News. Well, Joplin boys basketball plays in the opening round of the Kaminsky Classic. We'll have the details. Plus, Pope Francis opens the new year focusing on spreading awareness for children suffering. And we continue to track snow chances for today. We'll have what to expect with Chris Warner in the Sky Watch Weather Center. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. We'll be right back.
Well, the opening round of the 2025 Kaminsky Classic began yesterday. A handful of local boys basketball teams in this year's tournament get a shot to play competition from all around the state of Missouri. Joplin is the host of the annual Kaminsky basketball tournament. Eagles facing William Chrisman in front to the entire school yesterday afternoon. First quarter, Collis Jones goes in for the easy layup to give Joplin the lead, and a few minutes later, Fred Taylor misses this three, but Collis Jones is there for the rebound, then turns it around and goes up and under with a nice kiss off the glass. Nice play there. Eagles leading by 5. We're continuing in the first quarter. Bracken Green makes the running floater for 2 points. Next possession for Joplin. Bracken Green is going to fire away from beyond the arc, and that's nothing but net. That cuts the William Crispin lead down to 1. In the closing seconds of the first quarter, Cooper Williams comes flying across for the steal. Outlet pass to Fred Taylor, and he's cleared for liftoff. That one-handed slam wakes up the crowd. Joplin goes on to defeat William Crispin 66-56. Over to game 2 of the Joplin Kaminsky Classic, Webb City Cardinals played the Poplar Bluff Mules in the first round. In the first half, all defense, but Eli Pace gets the Cardinals rolling in the first. He drains the 3, and we're tied at 12. A little later in the game, Webb getting a rhythm. Trey Turner blocks the 2-point jumper, and on the same possession, Eli Pace finds Turner open, and he finishes what he started. That one's good for 3. Turner finished the night with 11 points. Webb City leading by 8 at halftime. But the Mules not backing down. J.R. Lathon lobs it to Markle Hurd, and Poplar Bluff is back in it. This game is tied with 12 seconds left. Mules with the ball. Brendan Durden gets fouled, and the basket is good with 5 seconds left. Webb City is unable to hold their lead. They fall to Poplar Bluff 50-48 in the first round. In the late game last night, Carl Junction faces Life Prep Academy out of Kansas City. Life Prep goes on to win big. The Fire beat the Bulldogs 78-64. CJ will face Francis Howell this afternoon on the consolation bracket. Pitt State women's basketball is a perfect 5-0 to begin conference play. The Gorillas have won their last 4 games as they aim to continue their winning streak last night in Wichita. Pitt State facing Newman Jets. Gorillas handle business from start to finish. Pitt State beats Newman 77-50. Savannah Campbell came off the bench to score 18 points for PSU. Meanwhile, Harper Schreiner and Corinna Gerber each scored in double figures. Over to the men's game, Pitt State tried to bounce back from a 1-point loss that the team endured last Tuesday to Missouri Southern. Gorillas beat Newman 86-76. Pitt State will return home next Wednesday to face Rogers State. Also to come, a new report shows protein powders may contain lead and cadmium. Plus, got another check of the snowy forecast and when it comes to an end and when warmer weather gets here when we come back. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News, now 5:17 on this Friday morning. We are starting with our camera downtown Joplin on the Cornell Complex. If you look at the street light, you can see it is still snowing. Remember, snow, when it's heavy enough, the radar will pick it up, of course, because there's something for the radar beam to bounce off of. But when snow gets a little lighter, it's a little too finite, and the radar does have a hard time seeing it. So we're actually on radar, which we'll get to in a moment, showing a gap of no snow over Joplin, for example. But you can see, if you look close enough, that is not the case. And look at the snow out there. We've got city plow crews working on city lots. I know I've seen MoDOT crews, I've seen KDOT crews. I know everybody is out there trying to take care of the roadways, but it's going to take time. And you know, the best way you can help is by staying home. I know a lot of schools, organizations, places like that are closed or possibly delayed through today. So plenty of reasons to just remain inside where it's warm. MoDOT cameras on I-44. So this is at mile marker 4. So this is Highway 43 south to Seneca. That's the way it's pointed. Traffic is moving slowly, and that's one thing I noted too. There weren't many folks out this morning on my drive-in, but I do know the ones that I did see were moving slowly. This is I-44 from Rangeline, looking back to the east, and again, folks moving slow, and you can see there's still plenty of snow on the roads, and it's cold enough that any of that is going to be slick. And I've come across roadways this morning that were plowed, that were clearly plowed, and then the snow just kept falling, and it covered back up right where they had been clearing them out. Main Street exits, so we've got Main Street here, we've got Mercy Hospital back here, I-44 here, looking back to the east again. Still slick spots you've got to watch out for, and this is I-44 down at exit 11 down by Quick Trip and Flying J, and you can see still very covered roadways. And the other concern is the covered exit ramps and overpasses. All right, they're going to be a little slicker than the roads themselves, and the roads are slick enough as it is. MoDOT camera 20th in Rangeline. Take a look. I mean, on my way through, I was in a line, well, not a line, but I was behind cars. We were driving down the middle of the road because that was the clearest way to go. You've got to go slow. You've got to take it easy because it is still slick. It is still snow covered in a lot of cases. We got a lot to deal with. 32nd in Rangeline, a little blurry, but still the same kind of situation here. And you can see, especially get into the turn lanes in the intersections. That's where there's a lot of coverage still. And of course, those right turn islands, still plenty of snow out there as well this morning. So again, please, if you don't have to be out today, don't. Stay home. Stay warm, stay where it's safe. KDOT camera. All right, see, and here comes a car. And you see, this is what we're talking about. You can't even see the road. Okay, you can't even see the lines. There's snow everywhere. And it's a pretty fair amount of snow so far out there. So, of course, in our area, every last roadway we've got in southeast Kansas is covered, and that includes if you're trying to get out of our region of southeast Kansas. So I do know it's showing some blue here. These are actually still covered, but nonetheless, every major highway is covered. So that doesn't even include rural back roads, doesn't include city streets. You need to stay home. Roads are going to be dangerous to be on this morning. Same goes for the Missouri side as well. We've got covered roadways. That includes all the ones that MoDOT handles in the metro area. Of course, city streets are going to be covered. Back roads are going to be covered. I-44 is, I-49 is from here to KC, and I-44 from here to St. Louis is covered as well. So again, stay home. Okay, this is the Skywatch Storm Tracker. So as I mentioned, showing a little bit of a gap of snow over Joplin, but we just showed you two. It is showing up. We've got the heavier bands of snow. We have one more heavier band this morning. It's off to the west into southeast Kansas, and it is continuing to shove off to the east, and it will be the last heavy band of snow before we'll get behind this system and just be dealing with some isolated flurries and maybe a little light snow shower. Winter weather advisories, winter storm warnings, these will begin to expire progressively as we go through the day and the snow does begin to clear out of here. And that's what we'll eventually see. We'll be mostly cloudy. We're going to have gusty north winds. It's going to feel colder, but the temperatures today looking to go into the 30s. We'll cloud up again overnight tonight, and as we head into Saturday, we start mostly cloudy, but we'll start to go, we'll start to see gradual clearing. South winds now gusting to 20, and temperatures upper 30s and low 40s for us as we head into Saturday. Tonight, we're going to be chilly back into the 20s. Again, upper 30s, low 40s tomorrow, low 20s. And we're going to stay all right. Flurries possible on Sunday. Not too bad next week, even a little above average next week, ahead of another system next weekend with more rain and snow chances. That's Check Your Forecast. We're back with more right after.
Topping Health Watch this morning. Concerning new information about protein powder. A new report by the Clean Label Project, a nonprofit dedicated to transparent food labeling, found many brands contain disturbing levels of lead and cadmium. The Clean Label Project analyzed samples from 70 brands of protein powders, although it did not name the brands disclosed in the report. Now, the highest amounts of lead and cadmium were found in plant-based, organic, and chocolate-flavored products. No level of lead is safe for humans, and cadmium is a carcinogen. It's also toxic to the heart, kidneys, gut, brain, and respiratory and reproductive systems. Data on other contaminants will be released in a later update. Well, CES 2025 is underway in Las Vegas this week, showcasing the latest in tech innovations. Now, one invention, a robotic puppy that serves as a support animal. Fidel Moreno Meza spoke with the creator of the virtual pet, an idea inspired by his mother.
This lifelike puppy's name is Jenny. It's supposed to resemble an 8 to 10-week-old Labrador Retriever. Jenny is a pet for people who can't have pets.
By my mother, who after she was diagnosed with Alzheimer's dementia, I had to take away her dog for safety reasons. She was very unhappy with me, so I looked around for substitutes for live animal companions. She disliked everything that I brought home, and I realized there was a very large gap in the market.
Founder Tom Stevens says Jenny is meant to help those who may suffer from an array of issues like dementia, anxiety, loneliness, PTSD, and depression. Stevens says that this lifelike pet could even replace the need for some medications.
Final alpha pre-production right now will be in beta testing here shortly, and as soon as the betas are ready to go, we'll lock them down. But we do expect to resume taking pre-orders later this year and get puppies into people's hands as quickly as possible.
Jenny is meant to be a lap dog. Her mouth opens, tail wags, ears move, eyes open and close. She even has a sensory system where she can feel herself being touched and can respond to numerous voice commands.
CES wraps up today, and that's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
And we've got hazardous road conditions across the entire four-state area. We'll have another look at your forecast when we come back.
Right now at 5:30, the new year will bring a new look to the Leggett and Platt Athletic Center at Missouri Southern.
And we've got snow-packed roadways across the area, dangerous road conditions. We'll talk about that and the forecast to get you out the door coming up.
Plus, the Route 66 Theater in Webb City raises the curtain on this year's Great Wonders Uplift Film Fest.
The 4 States' most watched news starts now.
Well, good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5:29. I'm Elise Snowy.
And I'm Chris Warner. It is now Friday. It is January the 10th, and it is January Snow Day.
It certainly
is. It's like I said yesterday, it's kind of weird. You know, last weekend we had some winter precipitation. It was much colder. Didn't really get that much. This go around though, a different situation. Of course, later this afternoon, this evening, Doug will be here and we'll get some final totals on the snow. But I'm gonna tell you right now, we've got a fair amount of snow, especially in our southern counties out there. We can show you some of that. We will start first in downtown Joplin with our camera on the Cornell Complex. Again, when it snows, I like to point it down toward the intersection for two reasons. One, you can see the road conditions a lot better. And two, this LED street light right in front of the community clinic, it's easy to tell if it's still snowing because, as we've talked about, snow is somewhat finite. Unless it's a heavy amount of snow, it doesn't always show up on radar. And right now, believe it or not, there is no snow showing up on radar in Joplin, but you can look close enough and you see the little flakes flying. And you can also see the road conditions out there. Whoa! And do you see what we just got to catch right there? This truck just went up over the curb at 7th and Joplin. This is why you have got to slow down and take these turns slowly, guys. We're not kidding. No matter how big your wheels are, how heavy your vehicle is, how cool you think you might be, you gotta slow down because you will slide, as this gentleman just did. And thankfully, it looks like he missed the crosswalk sign, and hopefully there's nobody standing around down there. But you've got to slow down. That's a great example as to why you need to do that. MoDOT cameras around the area on I-44. Now, again, the one at exit 4, they've got pointed south along 43 towards Seneca. Trucks, traffic slowing down. On-ramps are not going to be all that great. Bridges, overpasses are going to be bad as well. And you can see how we're looking. This is the Main Street exit. Looking back to the east, we got Mercy Hospital over here. This is I-44 at exit 11. And you can see, I mean, you can't see the road fully down here, which is why you have to slow down. And it doesn't take a lot of snow on the road for it to be slick. KDOT camera, 69 East 520th Avenue. Can't see the road very well here. The last time a car came through, you cannot see the lines. You've got to slow down. And you got to be careful because you might find yourself just unwittingly driving down the middle of the road because you're kind of following some tracks, and then you look up and here's somebody coming head on at you. You've got to slow down. You got to be careful out there. Again, winter storm warnings in our southern counties, winter weather advisories, our northern counties. These will gradually expire from west to east as the snow continues to move on out of here from west to east. A broader look at the road conditions. Again, the KDOT map here, this one is showing some clear. It is not all of the major roadways in our area in southeast Kansas are listed as covered. On the Missouri side, it is the exact same thing. So here's the deal, though. That's including I-44 from here to St. Louis and I-49 from Arkansas to Kansas City. Both covered. 2 major interstates are covered, and every other road in between is. So the best advice, if you don't have to be outside today, don't. Just stay home. It's a lot safer, it's a lot warmer, it's a lot better. We have a gap here where we're not getting heavy snow, but we are getting heavy snow on the backside, Chanute, Independence, Sedan, Yates Center, and ahead of that around Springfield, Monette, Mount Vernon. And this is all continuing to push off from west to east. So we got to get this last band of heavier snow out of here, and then we'll just be dealing with a few scattered snow showers, maybe some light flurries, as we're going to be mostly cloudy heading into the afternoon and evening. So again, a couple of flurries will be possible, but the accumulating snow wrapping up this morning. Quick look at temperatures. We'll make this quick. The good news is winds are pretty light. We're not dealing with major wind chills, so we are sitting into the upper 20s across the region. We've got 30 in Chanute and Yates Center. And for today, we're looking at highs into the low to mid 30s. After that snow starts to wrap up, again, a stray flurry or two here or there, but otherwise mostly cloudy. North winds increasing, though, occasionally gusting upwards of 20 miles an hour. Well, you saw on our camera in downtown Joplin, the reason you need to stay home, and if you do have to go out, you got to be careful. We'll have another look at road conditions, keep you updated through the morning, and talk about some warmer weather. It's on the way here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, Chris, thanks. The Missouri Southern Board of Governors has greenlit a significant investment in the future of the university's sports and events facilities. The board has approved the allocation of $2.1 million from University Reserve funds for a comprehensive overhaul of the Leggett and Platt Athletic Center. Now, this 25-year-old building has hosted over 600 banquets, welcomed U.S. presidents, and even served as a refuge during the 2011 Joplin tornado. It is now set for an upgrade as university leaders address its aging infrastructure.
Have quite the history with the building as others in the community might. I certainly understand there's probably some fans and community members that will have that kind of feeling of nostalgia that they'll hate to see some of the things change. But again, at 25 years old, it was just time. It's time for the building to get those updates, and I'm.
Now, phase 1 of the renovations begins this summer with new bleachers, track and field, and a baseball court. Well, a national observation gets some love right here in the 4 states. Now, every year, the country celebrates National Law Enforcement Day on January 9th. It's a way for people to show their support for local law enforcement and its service to the community. Well, 2 board members of Great Wonders Productions are busy checking in filmmakers for the Great Wonders Uplift Film Fest. The festival kicked off yesterday at Route 66 Movie Theater in Webb City. The films featured at the festival were created by filmmakers in Kansas, Missouri, Oklahoma, and Arkansas. More than 25 films will be featured over the course of the 3-day festival. And the festival concludes on Saturday with an awards ceremony. The public is welcome to attend the film screenings.
The Great Wonders Productions mission statement, which is to support and uplift filmmakers from the 4 state regions, and then also to partner with them to create content that is uplifting stories.
Elizabeth says the film festival brings in people from out of town and boosts local businesses. And that's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. Ukraine's president meets with the U.S. Defense Secretary for more assistance for its fight against Russia. Plus, Venezuela could become a huge ally of the U.S. and the Trump administration. We'll have the latest. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. Topping World Watch, Pope Francis denounces any person who harms children in his weekly address on Wednesday. Francis focused his first lesson of the new year on the suffering of children. Now, he says people of faith cannot be indifferent to the issues of child labor. The 88-year-old pontiff also enjoyed a performance by an African-themed circus troupe that is touring Rome. Cirque Africa had its acrobat jugglers, dancers perform on stage with robot-operated puppet elephants. The topic of child abuse is a frequent discussion for the Pope, who often focuses on it during his foreign trips. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is calling on the Trump administration for continued support in the fight against Russia. Zelensky and U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin had a final meeting in Germany on Thursday. Zelensky said it is important for the incoming Trump administration to not give up on Kyiv's fight, warning that stopping military support now will only invite more aggression, chaos, and war. The latest package leaves about $3.85 billion in funding to provide future arms shipments to Ukraine. Well, protesters in Venezuela took to the streets of Caracas Thursday, one day before Nicolas Maduro is set to be sworn in for a 3rd presidential term after a widely disrupted election. Critics say he stole. Now the leader of the opposition party has risked arrest and come out of hiding. Jennifer Griffin reports.
After meeting President Biden at the White House Monday, Edmundo Gonzalez, the man who won Venezuela's presidential election in July, traveled to Argentina and then Panama with the ballots to prove that he, not Nicolas Maduro, is Venezuela's democratically elected leader. Maduro's inauguration is Friday.
Venezuela is the most important conflict in the Western Hemisphere for national security of the U.S. We also are desperate to solve the migration problem in our region. We want those Venezuelans to come back in millions and voluntarily. And that will happen when they'll see there's a future in their country.
Fox News spoke with Maria Machado, the top leader of Venezuela's opposition. She is currently in hiding and had the following message for President-elect Trump.
Venezuela has a huge energy potential. We're going to turn Venezuela from the criminal hub of the Americas into the energy hub of the Americas.
Machado has called for all Venezuelans to take to the streets Thursday to peacefully demand that Maduro not be sworn in.
Solving this conflict in Venezuela, I believe, on what happens in the next days in Venezuela depends not only the democracy, the future of our democracy, but the future of democracy in the region.
Machado said the fall of the Assad regime in Syria is a cautionary tale for those in the military and judiciary who still support Maduro.
Maduro has lost everything but fear and repression. What has he left? Russia? Iran? Hezbollah?
The Maduro regime arrested 2 Americans a day after President-elect Gonzalez met with President Biden. The State Department demanded the Americans' immediate release.
And that's a look at World Watch. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. Coming up now at 5:45 on this Friday morning. And earlier, if you missed it at the beginning or the bottom of the hour here, we actually witnessed a truck that was making a left turn here from 7th onto Joplin and slid and ended up not turning at all, straight up onto the sidewalk, just missing that crosswalk signal there. And he wasn't even going that fast, which is why you've got to stay home if you can. All right, find any reason you can to stay off the roads this morning so that road crews can do their job. But if you do, for some reason, have to get out, like us, I mean, we have to get up here, we have to get to work. We don't really have a choice in the matter, and there's plenty of you I know who have the same situation. You've got to get out, you got to go slow, you got to take time. It took me, and I'm not exaggerating here, almost an hour and a half to get here. Okay, you've got to plan accordingly. I mean, I woke up at 1:45 in the morning to plan for that, so you've got to make sure you're making the same plans to ensure you arrive where you're going safely. All right, I-44 at exit 4 is looking back along 43 south towards Seneca, and see that snow's still out there. We've still got snow on I-44. This is at Range Line looking back to the east along I-44. I flip sides, Main Street exit. Here's Main Street. That snow's still there. There's still snow up here on the overpasses. Some of that's going to end up refreezing because we're still below freezing. You've got to slow down or just straight up stay home if you can. This is MoDOT camera 20th in Range Line. We can see a little more of the road here, but take a look if you are coming westbound on 20th from over here by Aldi's and Home Depot and you're heading west. That road on that side not quite as clear at this point. And the other thing you've got to watch out for is those right turn islands as well. They're going to be slick. So are the roundabouts. MoDOT camera 32nd in Range Line. We've got, looks like maybe one area that's at least somewhat clear out here, but otherwise we still have snowy conditions on the roadways, which means slick spots all over the place. Same from the KDOT camera at 69 East 520th Avenue. This is just south of Pittsburgh. Again, the last car we saw that went through when the headlights came up, you still can't see the lines. You can almost roughly tell where the road is supposed to be. You've just got to be cautious out there. And again, avoid traveling today, or at least through the morning hours, if you don't absolutely have to be out. Again, still showing, it shows some clear, but I believe all of this right now is covered. We have some improvements now. We have partially covered up around Garnett. That's really about it. And road crews are going to be busy. They're going to be out there all day trying to clear these roads. And like I said, it's going to make it a lot easier for them to do their job if you can stay home and just ride it out at the house, all right? It'll be okay this weekend. You can get out. You can make up for lost time. But today, stay home. Roads are covered. That includes I-44 from the state line to St. Louis and I-49 from Arkansas up through Kansas City and every roadway in between. Can't give you enough reasons to stay home at this point. We've still got some light snow falling in Joplin. Again, we have a dry slot here, but the light snow isn't going to show up on radar as well as the heavier snow. So we have heavier snow, Monette, Mount Vernon, Cassville, Got a little around the Veda, and then another band, Chanute Independence, down toward Coffeyville, Bartlesville. So we have this first batch. It is on its way out. We're seeing some of the heavier snow thin out a bit, but we still got to get this one through as it moves from west to east out there, and that is exactly what it's going to do. Winter weather advisories, winter storm warnings will start to gradually expire through today. We'll be dealing with mainly just mostly cloudy skies and a few snow showers or light flurries through the afternoon, but the accumulating snow is just about done across the area. Our Saturday starts mostly cloudy. Winds will shift out of the south, gusting to 20 to 25. And we'll be into the upper 30s and low 40s out there as we head into Saturday. But today, you just got to get through it. We're breezy. North winds gusting to 20, low to mid 30s. Down to 20s tonight. Again, upper 30s, low 40s on Saturday. A few flurries, a little cooler on Sunday. Not too bad as we head into next week, even a little above average toward the end of next week. And another system with more rain and snow chances by next weekend. Let's check your forecast. We're back with more right after this.
Well, a cop and some bystanders push a snow-stuck car across tracks just as a speeding train is bearing down, and the whole thing was caught on camera. Jeremy Roth has today's. Take a look at this.
A cop in Ohio learned no good deed goes unpunished when, after helping out a snow-stuck vehicle, the plot thickened. Are you kidding me? This Glendale PD officer arrived in time to help out a driver whose vehicle was stuck, tires spinning, in deep snow. He was able to get the car moving again, but soon thereafter, as the vehicle was struggling through a railroad crossing, the situation suddenly went from snowy snafu to full-on emergency. With a train fast approaching, the officer and some helpful bystanders sprinted to give the car a brisk, brotherly shove, clearing the crossing mere moments before the train came barreling through. The helpful trio was left winded and, wordy. Good work, man. Speaking of choice words, the state of Illinois recently revealed they had to reject hundreds of vanity license plate requests last year, many for being inflammatory and or offensive. Secretary of State Alexi Giannoulias took to YouTube to highlight some of the, not necessarily pro-vanity, more like faux vanity.
Weenie, get, which I had to Google, a bad MF. Remember, go ahead, get creative, but please keep it clean.
Finally, this Florida patrol officer should think about getting a possum vanity plate after video shows her very carefully rescuing a frightened cat stuck on the median of a busy Jacksonville highway. The department says the cat was later taken to an animal shelter and was adopted. During the rescue, though, it had the right to remain silent, but clearly, waved it. I'd like to think it was saying, hey, thanks for helping me out. You know, because it's a cat. Never mind. For Take a Look at This, I'm Jeremy Roth.
Stick around. We'll be right back. Well, fire prevention is one of the showcases at CES 2025 this week in Las Vegas. New technology such as AI and cameras being rolled out at the event in the hopes that they can be used to help fight future wildfires and detect them before they get out of control. Companies such as Delfire and MyRadar say their new products will work to spread the word about potential fires to local residents faster than ever. The unveiling of the new firefighting technology comes as California is in the grips of 5 major fires. As winter weather moves across the country, health experts at Cleveland Clinic are reminding us of the do's and don'ts when it comes to shoveling snow. Now, they say it's best to shovel when the snow is still light and fresh and always scoop smaller amounts at a time. Dr. Parsons says it's also important to stretch before exerting your energy into shoveling. Dr. Parsons adds, if you decide to use a snowblower instead of a shovel, utilize extra caution. Do not place your hands near the blades or exit chute when trying to get rid of a clogged snow.
And you definitely will want to be cautious out there as you head out today. We've already seen one car slide up onto the sidewalk at 7th and Joplin. You've got to take it slow. Even if the roads look a little clear, they're still going to be slick. We're going to have that snow continuing through the morning. It's going to be easing up until it eventually just turns into some flurries. And we're going to go upper 20s by 8. Not a lot of movement out there. Low 30s by 11. Our highs today, low 30s, maybe some mid 30s. We'll have mostly cloudy skies. Main snow really coming to an end this morning by the latest at noon. Could still have a few flurries here and there, but nothing major. North winds gusting to 20. Overnight tonight, mostly cloudy skies continue. Temperatures gradually falling back into the upper teens and low 20s. Winds shifting out of the southwest at 5 to 10. Tomorrow, tomorrow, a little warmer, though, as we go into the upper 30s, maybe some low 40s. Still breezy, though, but south winds now gusting 20 to 25 miles an hour. A few flurries possible for us on Sunday, a little colder Monday. Temperatures at or even a little above normal toward the end of next week, with another system bringing us some rain and possible snow chances next weekend. Let's check your forecast. We'll have a lot more of the KOAM morning news and latest on road conditions when we come back.